You're so brave.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Crazy. Don't show my messy kitchen. Although I just told them all on live that I have a messy kitchen. Hi there. We have a few people coming on. Hi, Shirley. Am I blurry, Shirley? I think my Wi-Fi is off. Hi, Michelle. Just going to wait for a few more to get online. So I'm Deborah from Quilts by the Bay. For those who don't know me, I'm located just outside of Digby in Nova Scotia. Hi, Ruth. Hi, Linda. Janice. Hi, Amy. Okay, so we're going to get going. Today is the first class of the Bargello. So, okay, nice and clear, great. So I'm just going to show you how I make my Bargellos. I don't use a book, I don't use a pattern, so the best thing to do is to grab a pen and paper and take notes. That's the best way. When you buy a kit from me, you get what I call cheater notes, my little hand script notes. But other than that, I'm going to go through all the cuts, I'm going to go through all the instructions on here, and you should be able to do it without a pattern. Having said that, I do sell Bargello books. Some of them, or most of them, are a little bit more detailed and a little bit more complicated than the technique I'm going to show you. What I'm showing you is just a basic quilt. So I'm going to show you two quilts that I have on my floor and explain a little bit of difference between them. The very first quilt that I'm going to show you though is last month's quilt, the One Block Wonder. Somebody messaged me and asked if I would start off by showing the completed quilt again. So I'm going to show you that quilt, then I'm going to go right on and I'm going to show you two different Bargellos. One Bargello I've kept with one color theme and I cut my strips a little bit wider. The last Bargello has two color themes and I cut my strips a little bit narrow. I'll explain that as I go along, but the more narrow the strips that you cut, you'll see the difference in the wave when I show you on the floor. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to get Karen to turn the camera and we're going to show you a couple of quilts. So, perfect. So this one right here is my black and white One Block Wonder. As you notice, I used two different colors for my borders. I put the dark fabric along the dark side of my blocks, and I used the light fabric that I actually used in the quilt on the light side. So I just kind of like that effect. I did do a little class on the One Block Wonder doing the yin and yang approach, so if you missed that, you can scroll down and find that. So the first quilt I'm going to show you is the one color themed Bargello. So this one I went from lights to a dark teal. And I used 12 colors. Most books will ask for either 24 colors or other amounts. This one you just need 12 colors. And see how it graduates from really light to the really dark. And that's what gives it the wave look. Okay, so the next one that I'm going to show you is the same Bargello, but I've done two colorways. And notice the difference in the gradual curve here. It's kind of gradual. You'll see a better curve here. See the different curves? So this one has a green theme with a pink theme. And my curve is a little bit more dramatic. And that's because I made smaller cuts. So the smaller your cuts, the more often you do them, you're going to get more of a deep curve. So you just decide which approach you like, a soft, subtle curve, or a more dramatic curve. And I can explain the cuts as we go along. So for each color fabric, Karen, do you want to hold that so I don't squat again? So we need 12 colors, and you need 12 2.5-inch strips of each color. So you really only need 30 inches of each color, but I always put a meter in my kits for squaring up and for a mistake. If you've cut something wrong and something comes out crooked and you want another cut, safe. If you have a meter, you're good to go. And then I always get probably 1.5 meters for the last border, and I just pick one of the darker colors that I want in my border and go from there. So you need 12 colors at 1 meter plus your border. That's what's required for this. Hi Laura. Pink and green should never be seen together. I always heard that blue and green should never be seen together except in the washing machine. But it's not true, Laura. Anyway, so does anybody else have any questions? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down. Karen's going to follow me with the camera, and I'm going to go down and I'm going to show you right from scratch how I pick some colors to put together. And if you guys want to add an opinion, or just tell Karen and she's going to tell me what your questions are. But I'm going to do a blue colorway, I'll probably do a green colorway, and maybe if you guys want to suggest a different colorway, then you can watch me pick that colorway too. So I'm going to be moving around a lot. Hopefully it's not blurry, but feel free to put in your 2 cents worth. Carrie's asking the name. The name of what? My name? My name's Deborah Howard from Quilts by the Bay, and we are doing the Bargello quilt.
Teal. Somebody wants to see it.
Somebody wants to do teal. Well, that's my favorite color. So the Bargello is certainly not hard to make. I really can't stress that enough. You guys all watched the One Block Wonder and said, oh, how easy that looked. This is going to be even easier than the One Block Wonder, and it's going to sew together. I could probably do a little bit of a yellow one, Pat.
Somebody said gray, so what about gray and yellow together?
Gray and yellow, yep. Okay, so we're going to go down to the sewing room, excuse the blurry look, and I'm going to start picking colors, and Karen's going to follow me around. Come on down. This is my sewing room. Show everybody my sewing room. This is my room. It's not very big. This is my ironing table. Down, down, down. That's my ironing table. And this is where I sew over here. This is not a very big room, but it suits me. Okay. So we're coming into the batik room because you all know how much I love batiks, but you don't have to use batiks to make a Bargello. That's just the room I tend to get drawn to every day. And I do mix batiks with regular cotton, but that's a preference thing. If you want to do it, great. If you don't want to do it, that's fine too. Okay, so I am first of all going to pick a teal. I know I want 12 different colors, so I'm probably going to do 3 or 4 lights, 3 or 4 mediums, and 3 or 4 darks. That's where my head goes right off the bat, and then I'll tweak it after I get it down. So I want, most times, a lot of times, I start with a really light one, because I find that's where you get your dramatic curve from. That's what I like to start with. I'm going to set this down. Chances are this is going to get turned out or changed out before I get going. I'm going to start here. This is my favorite section. Teal. Yeah, I like this. And I like this. So you can't have them really, in my mind, you can't have them too close together because I like the shading effect. So they can be really close in color. You gotta go down a bit. They can be really close in color and still work. But having said that, a Bargello doesn't have to fade. You can have 12 different colors, Like the Kimberbell that I posted on last night, if you liked all those colors and you wanted to do a really wild rainbowy color, you can have one pink, one red, one orange, whatever you wanted. It doesn't have to flow. That's just what I choose to do. And lots of times when you think, oh, you look back at your color and you think, oh, that stands out like a sore thumb. Let's get that out of there. Lots of times when you leave that sore thumb in there, that's actually a good thing in a Bargello quilt. It kind of makes your waves more distinctive. So shading sometimes works, but being a little bit different works as well too. It just gives you a different effect. There's no right or wrong to what you're going to do. I'm going to show you a shading one because I like to shade.
Carrie's asking the name of this particular Bargello.
Well, it's just what I make. I call it Wavelength because it's kind of like a wave, but there's no name. It's just what this is just what I'm doing. Okay. So I want a really light one here. And I know that's going to get changed out. I'm just setting it there. I will have this room tore apart like crazy. Yeah, see, I would take this one out, put that one in, and put a white one there. Can you see that? Or you kind of got to come down a bit?
Down?
Yeah. Should we find something?
It's hard to tell for me because I can't see it.
Yeah, you can't see it. Let me try it here. If we angle it so that it always stays here, and I always make my colors all come there. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, so you can see me starting here, and I'll just bring everything over to
I'll
here.
hold it.
What's that?
I'll hold it because it's wanting to flop.
So I've got too many mediums right now. I'm just playing. I'm just gonna see what, oh, I like this one. I like that. Just give me a second, ladies. See, I'm probably going to add this. Let's take this out. I like this one better. And I like the way that's going. And then I am going to bring in, can you see if anybody's adding suggestions?
Yeah, I'm just looking.
So at the end of the day, nope. At the end of the day, I am going to post probably 4 groups of fabrics that I think work well together. See, I like this one in here too. Oh, see, I'm getting away from the blue, which I'm going to do because I like this. And I'm going to get away from the blue. See what I do? I keep changing it up. That dot's got to go, but it's going to have a better one. Nope. Well, maybe let's just put this one there. There. So now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got to go darker. Let's go darker. Let's go teal. Sometimes it takes a while. I'm going to switch it up and come into a different color here too. Just a sec. Maybe this will be a 2-tone one. Yep, I just need another darker one to go in there.
Does the pattern material give more movement in the wave?
No, I find it's more the size of the cut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Somebody's saying 3, 4, and 5 look the same.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Quite different.
They're quite different actually in person, and they actually flow really nice together, which is what I like. I'm thinking number 2 is going to come out.
Try to take this off.
Why?
Then I can turn it around, and then I can actually get in so people can see.
Okay, so I'm actually going to put this one in here. It's got to go in here. I need some more dark. Nope. I'm going to stop there with that dark one, but I need something to go in between it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Need 2 more in there. Has anybody got any suggestions? See, I'm switching from that green to taking it out to teal, but that's not gonna work. Let me see. Teal. Oh, I like this. That's got too much green. Okay, so that's one group. I'm going to add 2 more to it before I post it online, but that's how I go about it. Okay, so now I'm going to go on. Somebody wanted to see yellow and gray, I think. So I'm going to move these, because she's set up there, and work on this later. I'll post the finished grouping after. I like the way those shade. Those are definitely staying in mine. Okay. So, somebody wants, what other color could we do? We need yellow and gray. Do I have enough yellows and grays? Well, this could be a first gray one. This could be another gray one. This could be another. Let's start it out with a lighter there. And maybe to a white. And then she wants to go into yellow, I think.
Will you be doing kits, and if so, how much?
The kits I have to figure out. So it's 12 meters times 17, and then the borders. Most of my kits usually run between 175 and 200. I need to blend this to a yellow now. She wants, so I've got grays. Let's start it with some yellows. So this, you're going to see 2 distinctive, that might not stay. I'm just putting it there for a sec. You're going to see 2 distinctive different colors, but that's going to work in a Bargello, just like my pink and green one. I don't like that yellow. Let's take that yellow into maybe an orange. We need orange. Nope. Nope. You guys are really trying to text me today. Nope. I wonder if this goes here. Nope. And we need 2 more. We need something, maybe a darker gray and darker orange, which I will have to work on. Okay. So what other colorways anybody want to see? What did you
Somebody
say?
suggested
No yellow for me. Me neither, Jackie.
gray or pink or browns and pink.
Browns and pink. I wonder if we should pick one that's not Bargello, but that's not batik. Let me see. I'm going to bring in some fabrics that aren't batik.
Purple, somebody suggested.
Purple? I can do purple. Purple.
Deb, will you help me? Let's try to take this off. I think it'll be better.
What's that?
Help me take this off.
Help you take it off?
Yeah.
There we go. So, let's see what else we got here. I like this one. Let's see what else we got. I like this one. I like blue and purple. Let's do a blue and purple. Does anybody have questions about requirements? We need some more blues, and we're going to go into purples.
I think you also have purple to blues to teals.
To teals. You want to switch that into teal, which would be nice. We can do that. Blue, purple, and teal. Karen, you see anything?
When I was trying to switch the camera, I had you upside down, Deb. Somebody's asking how much fabric for each color.
You really only need 30 inches, but you need room for squaring up and room for boo-boos, so I'm telling people to get a meter. 35 inches would do. I like to have a little bit extra just in case.
Somebody asked if you ever use a color wheel to help you.
No, I don't. I just pick.
Same yardage for all sizes, Deb?
Yeah, for all of them. I love that fabric. Blue, that's a perfect one. I'm gonna lead this from blue, and I'm gonna go to purple, and I will post it later today. But I like that. That's gonna work.
Somebody said, what about that lovely blue that arrived yesterday?
The lovely blue.
Something like that.
Which one was that? They were all lovely.
How big is the finished quilt?
It will be about. I'll explain that, but it will be roughly a queen, a little bit bigger depending on the width of strips that you cut, and I'll get into that. But if you buy a meter, you'll have a good queen.
Kathy's just joining us and wants to know how many different colors.
12 different colors. So see how I like this, how it's going from light, and we're going to go down into the purpley colors here. Anyway, I'm going to post probably 4 different options. If you guys want help, or if you have specific requests, just call the shop and ask for suggestions, and I can send you pictures, and we can go from there. You can take out what you don't like or change around anything that you want to change around. So
some people want to see the finished quilt again. Do we want to go back and
yeah, we can go back in
that?
again. Go back in. So there's one of them on the floor with the 2 colorways. This is green and pink. And then I'll flop it the other one. But you can go back on the video too. They'll be posted online. There you go. So in 2 weeks, I am going to explain to you how to start cutting. So you're going to have 2 weeks to pick your fabrics and message me with any questions that you might have. So until 2 weeks from today, see ya. Bye.